Hi, this is Victor Morganti from Fact Engine. We're going to have a look at the Earhart Document Search and Query tool, and where Earhart lets you index folders on your hard drive on a Windows machine. So for instance, I've got two folders indexed. I've got a folder called Prospect Peak, which is for a fictitious mining company, and we also have another folder and all its subfolders indexed called Legals, and this is from my previous company, Vive Proprietary Limited. So there's two folders there indexed, and we can search for documents inside there. At the moment we can search on text files and PDF files, and that'll be extended shortly to include Word documents and other types of documents. Search is pretty easy. If I wanted to do, for instance, a search for documents that contain the word disclosure, I just type in disclosure and there's a whole bunch of documents there. And the first one we can see in the status bar here, the name of it is the beta test agreement for Scouts, which is a software company. That's an old copy of their beta test agreement. If you're connected up to OpenAI to use GPT-3 or GPT-4 when you have access to it, you can do natural language queries inside Earhart. So you can type in such things as show me the documents that contain disclosure. And that's automatically come back with the syntax that we need to search for documents that contain certain words. It's pretty easy with one word like that, but for instance, if we're doing a file name, that's a different syntax. So I'm going to keep the first part of that natural language query the same, and then say show me the documents that contain disclosure in the file name. And I'm going to hit go on that, and you can see it's come back with a totally different search text in the search text box, and we haven't had to learn that syntax because the natural language query was converted to the correct syntax for Earhart. So file star disclosure star, and there's a couple there. So there's the beta tester non-disclosure agreement, and we've got another non-disclosure agreement there as well. I know that somewhere in my folders I've got a Form 205 for the Australian Securities Commission, and so I just searched for Form 205, and this is an old document which converted a public company, Vive Limited, to Vive Proprietary Limited, and these are my former directors in that company. That's the Form 205 document that's been found. Now we're going to do some more interesting queries, but before we do that, if we want to see where the document is in the scheme of things, we've got a file browser built into Earhart. So that's opening up something like Windows Explorer. There's the actual text document there, resolution for Vive Limited to Vive Proprietary Limited, so that was the Form 205, and these are the folders on my computer that it was searching. So it was somewhere in these legals folders. Now let's do a search for the retail industry award. Now this is not for awards per se, but awards for how much someone gets paid per hour or per week. So it's the Retail Industry Award. So this is an old copy of the award from 2006-2007. It's a PDF. It's in the legals folder. Now, if I open that in the Document Explorer, we can investigate document query and exploration using artificial intelligence inside Earhart. So I'm going to ask what is the award for a school leaver that has, or who has finished grade 10 and is skill level B. Now I can open the document as a PDF and search for that, but with modern day artificial intelligence I can ask that question in natural language, and the AI will go away and find that documentation inside the document, so we can see where year 10 school leaver gets $202, year 11 gets $243. I think this is per week back in those days, and year 12 that much. Now if I want to, I can open the document and check that. So just go to open document in the keyword searcher, and here's the document, and I think it's open already on that page. So I'm on page 2 of 4, and we've got a school leaver, year 10, and there's the award there. That's skill level A. So skill level B is $202. So if I go back to Earhart and the Document Explorer, we can see where it came back with 202. So it pays to check, because the AI is not infallible, but it's pretty good. So I'll just close the Document Explorer and we'll do some more searches. So what I'm going to do now is a more serious search. So I want to find what documents I've got on, say, sexual harassment. And there's a number of documents that have come back, and if I want to limit that to prospect peak, I can just select the prospect peak index, redo the search, and you'll see the number of documents will decrease, and it should be just one document that's returned. So that's showing all the hits on sexual harassment. I think I've got the same document in there twice. So I've got the prospect peak mining bullying policy and the sexual harassment code of practice policy for prospect peak in there. So if you're a workplace safety advisor, Earhart becomes a very powerful tool to be able to find documents very quickly if you're preparing site-specific safety plans and things like that. So I'm going to open that document, and in the Document Explorer, and do some queries on it. I'm going to say, what does the document say about union workers and sexual harassment? So I'm going to hit go on that. Now I've just noticed that I've got the ability to abort this process if it's taking too long, because this is being farmed out to OpenAI. They have a policy that they don't, for GPT-3, they don't use any of the data that we send to them for retraining. So it's a more or less a private interaction with OpenAI's AI. They do have a hold data for a certain period of time for legal reasons. And what it's doing now, it's pulling out all the various parts within the document that explicitly mention union members, and we can go through there, and if we're preparing further safety documents or something like that, we've been able to quickly and easily pull out the relevant sections within the document that relate to union workers. Now, I will advise that you should always double check your work. Don't trust the AI 100%, but it's very, very accurate, and as the technology progresses, it will become more and more accurate as time goes by. So I'm just going to abort that process now. I think we've got enough results that have come back, and ask some types of questions that a safety advisor might ask. So, for instance, what acts of Parliament are mentioned? And I'll just say in the document. Now I'm going to hit go on that. So it's going to go away and search the document for the various acts of Parliament that are mentioned within the document. So the Sex Discrimination Act, the Human Rights and Equal Opportunities Commission Act, for instance, are mentioned. Let's see if we can find any more acts that are listed. So the Anti-Discrimination Act in New South Wales, the Equal Opportunity Act in Victoria, the Equal Opportunity Act in South Australia, and also in Western Australia, the Discrimination Act in Australian Capital Territory, and the Anti-Discrimination Act in Queensland. So it's going through the document and pulling out the acts of Parliament that relate to sexual harassment as listed in this Code of Practice document for Prospect Peak Mining, which is our fictitious mining company for this purposes of this video. So that's good. I thought to ask for acts of Parliament, but I could have said what legislation listed in the document. So now I'm just saying what legislation, and here's some of the benefit of artificial intelligence is that it's going to still pull out the acts. So the Sexual Discrimination Act has been identified, and I believe it's going to find all the other acts that we spoke about as well. So even though we've just said legislation, the artificial intelligence is smart enough to realise that we're looking for acts. So the Sex Discrimination Act, the Anti-Discrimination Act in New South Wales, the Equal Opportunity Act in Victoria, etc., up to the Anti-Discrimination Act in the Northern Territory and in Queensland. So the artificial intelligence is handy in terms of being able to, for us to not 100% get our question maybe right. Legislation is certainly right, but it's smart enough to pull back results that are relevant to our query. So I'm just going to abort that process for a second. So let's go back to the keyword searcher for a second, and I'm going to do a search for school, and we're going to use logic now, and Boolean logic. So we're going to say school and customers, and I'm going to include my legals folder. So nothing came back under Prospect Peak, but certainly in my legals index or legals folders, the Microsoft Partner Agreement, an old copy of that has come back, and it mentions customers, and it will mention school as well. On the right hand side here we've got the number of hits, which is 8, and if I go down I'll see school and customers. So that's found 2 words using logic. Now I'm going to say school and leavers, and we should get back our retail industry award document. I'm just going to change that to lever, so school and lever, and we've come back to the Retail Industry Award document. If I say school and not lever, I'll get back other documents, so the Microsoft Partner Program, where I've said school not lever, and I could even say school or lever. And when I say school or lever, I've got both the Retail Industry Award and the Microsoft Partner Agreement document. Now, if you need help at any stage, there's a comprehensive user manual, so you can open the help manual and go to the keyword search syntax section, and it provides the relevant syntax for querying inside the documents or by file name. So that's for querying inside the documents. That's all the different ways of searching. So we've got wildcard searches, fuzzy searches, proximity searches, range searches, etc. And then file name. I've just given one example for file name, how to search by file name. So that's the user manual. And so just to recap, you can type in your search in the relevant syntax within the search text box, or you can type a natural language query. So for instance here, show me the documents that contain disclosure in the file name. Hit enter. That'll go away to the AI and come back, and it's found documents that have disclosure in the file name. So the beta tester non-disclosure agreement and another non-disclosure agreement there. So thank you very much for watching. That's the Earhart Document Search and Query tool. Very helpful for document professionals, so lawyers, doctors, and definitely work health and safety advisors who need to do site-specific safety plans, where they quite often troll through a great many documents to find relevant legislation and site-specific hazards, for instance, for work sites, etc. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.